Hey, this is Dave from MetalEpidemic.com. Thank you for checking out our YouTube video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button below if you like this type of content, and we hope you enjoy the review. What's up guys, Dave here from Metal Epidemic, back with another album review. And for this review, Duncan Kyle and myself have been checking out the new EP from four-piece metal band No Life on Earth. The band's new EP will be released on October 30th via Blood Blast. So there is a little reason that I threw this into the reviewing pile for us.
Why are you laughing, Dave?
Selfish reasons, obviously. Mainly because of who's involved in the project. A little bit of information. So this band actually started during the COVID-19 quarantine.
Oh right, fuck.
With guitarist Alan Wallace of Eminence and drummer Jay Arriaga from Scattered Storm. They have joined up with a gentleman called PJ from a pop supergroup called Jota Quest, and he plays bass, and Andre Acosta on vocals from Hereafter the Wave. Now, some of you may know that vocalist Andre was also the vocalist in one of my favourite bands. That's right. He featured on the 2003 album Evolution by Pissin' Razors. That's right. It's all becoming clear.
Any excuse to segue a Pissin' Razors conversation into honestly.
Every review.
Years now. Years I've had to listen. No, I'm not joking. I like Pissin' Razors. Evolution's a good album, man.
Yeah.
Give him a couple of years, he'll be like, how you feeling? Pissin' Razors.
The EP also has a few guest appearances. Each song on the EP features a solo from the likes of, are we ready? Andreas Kisser from Sepultura, Cesar Soto from Ministry, Hector Camarena from Hereafter the Wave, and also well-known producer Chu Madsen.
Yeah, that was the bit that confused the fuck out of me. I was like, Chu Madsen doesn't just write, record me. He plays music as well.
Apparently so.
Yep.
Apparently so.
Big Chu.
The EP wasn't produced by Chu Madsen, however. This band are actually split between America and Brazil. So it was produced by Jay Arriaga and Alan Wallace, and then it was mixed by Jay in El Paso, Texas at Empty Paradise Studios, and then mastered by Alan Wallace in Belo Horizonte in Brazil at Eminence Studios.
I love it when you speak Brazilian. Portuguese, I do. I get a slight Bobby twitch, Dave.
A wee rager.
Say bom dear.
A wee clear and pleasant rager.
Start a band in quarantine, write and record an EP's worth of music. Kinda makes me feel like a lazy fuck, because all I've done is watch Netflix.
Start a podcast, assemble a website, get a bunch of reviewers in, review shitloads of albums. I actually feel like these guys are slacking. All they did was put 4 songs out.
I can write 4 songs in a day. Look at the amount of fucking guitars I've got. And a keyboard.
I've got your back, Dave.
Thanks, Duncan.
Yeah, also I've watched a silly amount of Netflix, you lazy fuck.
I really have. My Netflix list has never been smaller. It is ridiculous.
I whittled mine down to 2, and I think I've watched all of YouTube now.
Grats. But for something that's been pulled together in such a kind of short space of time, this isn't half bad. The press release that came with the album mentioned influences such as Sepultura, Trivium, and Fear Factory. And actually, those bands are a pretty accurate comparison, actually.
It's on the nose, Dave. I'm going to say that whoever did the press for this one knows their shit. So.
Oh, really? Lisa.
We're not saying it. Is this Lisa? Do we know it's Lisa? Was it Lisa? All right. Lisa knows her shit.
Really? We know this.
Yeah.
We love you, Lisa. You can hear those little similarities woven throughout this release. I also thought, though, this EP had a very new metal vibe at times.
Totally does. It was scratching an itch, Dave. It was scratching an itch.
Yep. Some of the riffs and the vocal styles, it took me back to like late 90s, early 2000s new metal.
Yeah, it was a bit. It was a whiff of the Nothingface about this band.
Yes, I do have. I've got that written in my notes right in front of me, Duncan.
There we go.
Face.
I have no notes, Dave, but there was a whiff of the Nothingface, particularly on Nothing Is Real, track 3.
Yes. Yes.
It's what happens when we podcast and record so much together. Occasionally, we finish each other's sentences and notes, apparently.
There's actually no point in both of us being here.
No, to be honest, yeah. That nice way saying fuck off.
So where were we? The first track, the first track with the kind of clangy, like kind of bass intro, it made me actually think of Prong a little bit. The kind of like what would be kind of like cleansing era Prong, like mid-90s Prong. But then like the clean, like the haunting type vocals sit somewhere between like Burton from Fear Factory and maybe like some of like Steve from Skinlab's more kind of melodic work. And that was the same way with track 2, the Gravity, actually the chorus reminded me a little bit of Nothingface as well. A very nostalgic feel for me. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the little bits of synths as well, that they kind of added into the background. I thought that helped kind of lift a lot of the choruses. I think the most new metal track was definitely Nothing Is Real. I thought that the main riff was like a slowed down Mudvayne riff from like LD50 or something like that. The chorus not so much, but it definitely had a bit of a kind of Mudvayne thing going on. The last track though I thought was probably the most kind of creative track on the EP. It's the one that didn't sound as familiar as the other tracks. It had little hints, like Sepultura and Trivium in there, but not too much. And again, I liked the synths. Andre's melodies actually, I thought were pretty great on this EP. His melodic tone has actually come on a long way since his time with Piss and Razors. Not there was a lot of like singing on Evolution, maybe like one track, possibly two. But I thought he definitely sounded more confident on this, and that came across, especially on that last track. What did you gents make of this EP, Duncan?
I mean, a lot of what you just said there, Dave. For me, the band's at its full strength over the choruses. The choruses were really catchy, really infectious, and sounded brilliant. Production's really good. Production sounds nice and tight. I like the fact that they did mix in a bit of kind of almost industrial instrumentation in there. That just we put those little elements in certain tracks, and I think it just makes things stand out a bit, makes things sound a bit different. I think for the most part, my only real criticism of the band overall is that I think some of the verses are a bit run of the mill compared to the rest of the songs. Like they just feel very memorable, as in I've probably heard this sort of thing elsewhere a lot, and they kind of plod through in a not exactly the most memorable sort of fashion, but then you get hit with a really cool chorus, and some of the interludes are pretty cool as well. So I don't think there was anything necessarily exceptionally different or unique about No Life on Earth. I will say though, credit to them, they're all over the world. They're recording during what I would argue is probably extraneous circumstances, and still being able to pull all that in is cool. Get the guest appearances that they have. They very much wear those influences on their sleeve for sure. There's no getting around that. And I like a little new metal tinge every now and again. I don't know if you know this about me, Dave.
We know.
I happen to enjoy the new metal every now and again, and I do like those bits. To me, were just kind of, there's a bit of nostalgia in there. You know, you get that kind of warm, soapy hand job of the '90s that just kind of makes you feel. I hadn't even thought about Prong, and you're right. There's a bit of that in there, but it's sat well with me. I mean, overall, it's nothing I've not heard before, but at the same time, I did overall. It's an easy listen to. I mean, this is it's done in under 15 minutes, and yeah, I don't know. I think that this to me is the very definition of an album, which, you know, well, of an EP, sorry, which is kind of stating the claim of, we've got these musicians together and this is what we're doing. And they've not had a huge amount of time to craft it all together. That makes me wonder if they continue to continue as a group. I'd be interested to see what comes out later on.
Yeah.
Definitely, the Time Is Blind, the final track, does feel like a bit of a departure from the rest. So I don't know if that's them experimenting with what they would class as their sound, and the rest is kind of paying like their influences homage almost. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty. This is all about, to me, this is a release of catchy choruses. All the choruses were really catchy and memorable. The rest of the music, maybe not so much.
Okay. Kyle, what are you thinking?
Well, the first thing I have written down in my notes is new metal, and I love it. It's so good. The first track is such a great opener, and I could hear the groove right away, and from, you know, all of their influences and everybody you've mentioned. And the new metal, of course, and I was like, okay, I'm into it straight away. Absolutely. And when I heard Chu Madsen did the production, I was like, I know him from doing the latest Meshuggah album, so I love that guy.
Do you know what
he does?
He did do the production.
Yeah, he does a guitar solo.
Yeah.
There you go. Kyle.
Damn!
There you go.
Sorry, Kyle.
Damn! Okay, cool. I got that wrong.
Did you not listen to my whole intro there? No.
I did.
I don't either.
I read the notes and I listened to that and I still thought he did it.
I'll look at Storm on my phone when Dave starts talking. He'll just say my name and I'll come in and pretend like I know what he's on about. I was going to say,
Who did this?
It's interesting that you're saying, like Dave mentioned Mudvayne. I got a little bit of American Head Charge in it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, me too. I did.
I picked it like 2 or 3 bits that I was like, that's very kind of Art of War American Head Charge. So
yeah, it is.
War of Art, not Art of War. That's Sun Tzu that I mentioned in a different review.
Mixed by Jay Arriaga in El Paso. You're right. That's where I see. I read Chu Madsen and I'm like, yeah, he produced it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what he's known for. I didn't
exactly.
Know he could
So
I did not know he could do guitar.
Well, I mean, he hung out with Meshuggah for 3 months. Of course, he can fucking do guitar. That stuff just rubs off. You just spend any amount of time with the drummer, and it's like, oh, I can play drums now. Not very well, but I love this album. EP, sorry. I think that could be 4 tracks longer and still keep my interest and absolutely just love it all the way through. It was super good. Like, the first track was a great opener, the last track was a great closer, and the 2 in between were great in the middle tracks. It was amazing. I don't really know what to say. Like you mentioned, the synth stuff in the choruses was really such a good note for me. It was like, oh, synth, you know. It's such an unexpected time. You expect it to just go through powering on in its groove way and blah, 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 blah. But no, here's some synth, here's some clean parts, and clean singing and all that. Clean guitars even. They had one quite long outro, I think, or Nothing Is Real. Maybe. Mm-hmm. There was some clean stuff in there anyway. And it really, really, really highlighted like more of the, I don't want to say more of the skill, but like more of the melodic things they have going on for them. So it's not all just like groovy slamming riffs. It was like, oh yeah, okay, so you can do both sides of the coin. It's really good. And the thing I have written in all caps on my notes is audible bass. Which is how, I mean, I was listening to the bass lines and I could hear them more clearly. It wasn't buried in the mix, and they were playing something, you know, a bit different, and they weren't just copying the guitars either. It was fantastic. So really, 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 really like this one, and I really hope kind of chirping what excuse me, kind of chirping what Duncan was saying about another release. If the virus and the pandemic has to carry on for another year for these guys to release another album, I'll vote for the pandemic.
I actually like. I know we're talking about bands like new metal bands stuff from the 90s and 2000s, but I actually felt the production kind of felt a bit like that as well. It had a bit of a throwback feel to it. It's not overly polished. You know, it's a little rough around the edges.
I love that sound. It suits metal so much. The rough around the edge is not quite polished. Everything's a bit like on edge and hairy, and it's like it suits. Like that's how metal is meant to sound. It's not meant to sound super polished, and like you've taken what's it called, Mr. Clean to everything. I love it. It works so well, and this is just a great EP. So
nice. Okay, so that is the new EP from No Life on Earth. Check it out if you've got a fondness for that kind of late 90s thrashy groove metal mixed with a bit of early 2000s new metal, then you'll probably find something in the song you like. Rating wise, where are we sitting on this EP? Kyle, I'm going to come at you first.
All right, me first. Okay, set the tone, right? I'm going to give this 4.5 out of 5. And the only criticism I have, this was fantastic, but during the first track, when the bass started playing, I heard clipping.
Oh.
And I'm saying, rough around the edges is fine, but clipping is not. Other than that, loved it. So 4.5 out of 5.
I'm sure I've got a t-shirt that says that. Sure I do.
Duncan?
I'm coming in a bit lower than Kyle. Like I say, I really liked the choruses. I felt the rest of the stuff surrounding it felt a bit too familiar. I'm a 3.5 for No Life on Earth.
Yeah.
You and I are no longer on speaking terms.
Shit. I kind of have to agree with Duncan.
See how pained he is that he just had to say that.
I'm so sorry, Kyle. I didn't think it was the most inventive thing I've ever heard, but I didn't dislike it. Doesn't make it a bad release. I can tell from listening to this, the band have got a lot of potential, and I'm very keen to hear more from them going forward. So I would probably sit in with a 3.5 on this as well. The EP will be released on the 30th of October on Blood Blast. And you can check the band out online at facebook.com/No Life on Earth band, which I will put a link to in the description below. Let us know what you think. Once you've heard the EP, stick some comments in below, let us know. Happy to hear your thoughts. Thanks for checking out the review, much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye everyone.
Bye.